Okay.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ann again.
And I'm John
we're
still.
Doing our podcast today.
Our podcast.
Yeah. It's been a pretty big week.
Been a pretty big week in the old wrestling world, and it's been pretty big 2 weeks because we didn't do one last week.
No. Yeah.
So it's been
it's
been such a big week. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, we do this whenever.
Yeah, we do it whenever we have time, whenever people, miss us. We want you to miss us a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's like the way when Seinfeld ended on top. You know what I mean? It's like always leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
Because people want more.
Yeah, and I didn't watch a lot this week, but I watched the things that mattered to me.
Wow. What did matter to you?
I watched ROH.
You watch ROH, Ring of Honor?
Yeah, I watched ROH. And you know what about ROH that's really cool right now?
What's cool about it?
The last couple weeks of ROH, it's been under an hour.
Ooh,
like
Tony!
This week's episode was 45 minutes.
Tony, that's a sweet spot. That's what you want every week, Tony.
But the thing that's kind of weird about it is, it's kind of out of order on the app. Like, it didn't give me... I think I may have watched an old episode. I definitely watched an episode that was filmed in February.
Okay.
So it was it felt very weird because I didn't quite know where I was.
I think they number them in the ROH.
They do, but the numbers don't necessarily correspond to
Interesting.
The app did not serve me the most recent episode because when I look on Cage Match for the most recent episode, it's not the episode that I was served up top.
What has to do with the way they edit it?
Yeah, I don't know. But I had fun watching it. I mean,
well, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Because Honor Club. What did I watch? Did I watch 55 or 54? So that's the thing is, there's two of them that came out on the 7th.
Really? They did 2 episodes on the 7th? They did 2? That's bizarre.
That's what Cage Match says. It says 55 and 54. And I watched 54, which was originally filmed on the 24th of February.
Okay.
And it was great. It was a great show. It was 45 minutes long.
I mean, that's what you want, Tony. Every week should be less than an hour or an hour max.
Well, I mean, the past 4 weeks, this week was 45. The episode before that was 54 minutes. Uh-huh. Before that, they were an hour and a half. So they're getting shorter progressively. That's
great. I mean, or it just means Tony's running out of ideas. I just can't fill an hour. Because, I mean, for a while there, it was I would tune in when I was trying to watch it regularly. It'd be some episodes would be 2.5 to 3 full hours long.
Mm-hmm.
And be you cannot do this.
Yeah.
No one is going to watch this. It would be, I remember there was one that was 19 matches. It's brutal. I mean, I love wrestling, and I just can't watch that much of it. And also, it's just if there's this many matches, I know most of them aren't going to matter.
Mm-hmm.
And people are doing, but if you thin it down, a lot of people are doing a lot of really good stuff. Dalton Castle is killing it there. Athena's killing it. Billy Starks, I think Scorpio Sky has been wrestling there. Taya and Johnny TV, they're doing so much good work down at ROH, And if you dilute it, if you do too many things going on, people aren't going to know.
And what's funny is this episode of Honor Club I watched didn't even have any of those people.
Wow, look at that.
It was literally...
There's a whole women's TV title tournament going on down there right now.
Yeah, it was the tournament mostly. It was Red Velvet and Layla Hirsch and Abaddon and a jobber named Judy Azul. And Lee Johnson and John Cruz doing a singles match.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nyla Rose and Erika Demia.
Okay.
Who I'm not familiar with.
I'm also not familiar.
And then a 4-corner survival tag team match that featured, among others, Gringo Loco and Jack Cartwheel.
Oh, wow, that's right. I forgot. They've been working in ROH a lot.
And Angelico and Serpentico and the Workhorsemen and the Infantry.
Want to know something fun? Serpentico is John Cruz.
Are you kidding me?
No. He also sometimes goes by Ben Deho.
What?
Yeah. It's kind of an open secret.
Oh, and then Cage Match also says that the singles match with Lee Johnson and John Cruz was taped on March 6th.
Was it the same day as the 4-corner survival tag?
No, because the rest of it was taped in February.
Wow. Yeah, see, they probably edit stuff. They
They're
tape
really
it.
messing with my head.
Yeah.
I don't know how to. I don't know how to process this. Anyway,
Sorry,
it was a
really.
great little show, and I enjoyed. Do you want to guess who won the 4-corner survival tag
Give me the
match?
teams again.
The Infantry,
Uh-huh.
the Workhorsemen with our
Uh-huh.
Anthony Henry and JD Drake,
Uh-huh.
Gringo Loco and Jack Cartwheel,
Mhm.
and the Spanish Announce Project, Angelico and Serpentico.
I'm going to say the infantry.
You are correct.
Yeah, because they're pushing them because they were on Collision the other
They
day.
were, and they
gonna
had
be
a-
in that tag tournament, I think.
They had a big promo too on this episode.
Yeah,
It was
well,
really good with Trisha Dora. It was really good.
That's great. They had. I like
Yeah.
those. I like their little. It's unique. They're all veterans, so they have a built-in gimmick that most people don't have. I mean, they can do it. Sergeant Slaughter's stolen valor your way through it, but they're not stealing it. They got it.
Yeah.
Earned valor.
A comment on Cage Match about this ROH show that somebody gave it 5 stars and said, "I know it's not going to last, but man, have I been liking these shows a lot more without all the worthless extra matches."
Was that me? Did I write that?
The show felt so much more focused as it picked a select number of people to lock onto, and that helped quite a bit. For months now, I've thought there was a pretty good show in here if you cut about half of what we got week to week, and that has been on display in the last few weeks. It'll probably change next week, but it's fun while it's lasting. Don't change it, Tony.
No, do it. Keep doing
Just
this.
keep doing it. Make it a 45-minute to an hour long show. Do you know how much fun it would be if I could go to the gym on Thursday night or something and just put on ROH on the treadmill or elliptical and just like work out for an hour watching this show?
Yeah, you know how fun it would be if you went to the gym and we're just out of here for 45 minutes? Come on. Hey. No, I love you. No, but that's what I do. Look, I'm sorry.
This podcast is over. We're canceled.
No, we're canceled.
We're canceled.
Ugh.
But then someone else wrote underneath that, even though they gave it a 4.0, they said, meh, a pretty short and boring episode this week. But like,
Sounds like people looking at it from two different glasses.
I'll be honest, all these matches were very good. Like I'm a real pill about like being on my phone during wrestling. I'm a pill about being on my phone during television in general. But like wrestling, I second screen quite a bit. I had trouble second screening this.
Wow.
Because the matches would be so exciting and fast paced. I kept being like, oh, I can't.
We don't have time to check out if a match is 5 minutes long because it could end at any moment.
Yeah, I couldn't focus on my Wordle or
Wow.
my spelling bee game.
Because you're focused on the wrestlo.
Yeah, all my New York Times games, they had to take a back seat for 45
Wow.
minutes while I watched wrestling. Yeah.
Holy schmoly.
Yeah.
Holy schmoly.
So there you go. There you go.
Wow.
So anyway.
I do agree. I like how they're just looking at it from two different like perspectives of optimism versus pessimism.
Yeah.
Or like different, levels of expectations. But I feel the same way. That's what I've been saying. The way NXT was, I mean, NXT now is fine too, but the way they used to do NXT when it was taped is, you would rotate who you were focusing on because they would tape like 3 to 4 episodes at a time. So you couldn't have people wrestle every week. They'd like wrestle a match and they'd be in a segment the next week. And it felt very focused because they were like 45 minutes. And that's exactly what they should be doing with ROH, developing people and keeping it focused and then like just rebuilding its audience. Because that's what you want to do with it, And it's okay if it stays on Honor Club. It doesn't have to be on regular TV. NXT wasn't, and NXT was selling out arenas for their takeover events and their pay-per-views, the tapes.
Yeah, and I will say the first couple matches on this show the crowd was really full and hot and
Hot crowd.
hot, full crowd. We like to see it. And I think, it was refreshing to see because a lot of times you get that like 11 o'clock, after Dynamite crowd. But this seemed like they filmed it maybe before. So it was like everybody was ready.
You should always just film it before. I mean, honestly, nobody needs to do anything after Dynamite. Like, or Collision, I think, is when they tape it. But like after Collision's over, people are ready to go home. It's not. They're not. Most people aren't going to want to stick around for. I mean, bless his heart, but Christopher Daniels versus basically anyone at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the guy. I was a big fan of his, probably until like maybe 5 years ago, and at that point, I think was when I was like, I think he's hit his limit.
So anyway, that's what I watched this week, wrestling wise. You watched everything else, right?
Yeah, I watched everything. I went to an MLW show for God's sake.
Oh,
Got to see
right.
Satoshi Kojima versus. I wasn't even going to talk about this. Satoshi Kojima defending the MLW World Heavyweight Title against Minoru Suzuki, which was really the main reason I went. But I also got to see Mystico. He won the MLW World
Mystico.
Middleweight Championship. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Mystico versus Rocky Romero. That was fun. It's just, we live very close to a venue called Melrose Ballroom, and it's just fun to
Don't
be
tell
able to
people where we live.
oh, they're gonna dox us.
They're gonna dox us.
But it's just fun to be able to walk over to a show in 10 minutes because most things are really far away from us, and now it's ooh, there's a thing near us.
Yeah.
I went and then I watched every other thing. I watched AEW Revolution. Watched a little bit of WWE, to keep up with the stories, and then I
WB stories.
stories.
Say what?
That's what they claim to do. And then I watched New Japan because the New Japan Cup started up, and then I feel like I watched something else, but in my head.
Well, why don't you go one by one and talk about each thing?
I'll talk about them. So I'll start with AEW's.
Yeah.
AEW. They had a big pay-per-view. They had a big week this week. Actually,
They did.
On Sunday,
I didn't watch the pay-per-view. Sorry.
You're the one who has to tell Tony.
I'm sorry.
You got to call him.
There was only
He's
one
mad
woman.
at you.
There was only one women's match.
Technically, if you count the pre-show, there were two.
It's nothing for me. It's not about me.
Hopefully, that's going to change soon.
We'll see.
The Monday.
We'll see.
Well, we'll find out. But AEW, they had a big week, great week. They had Sunday. They had AEW Revolution pay-per-view, which despite the lack of women's content on it, which they had been a lot better about lately, but this one they just for whatever reason, I think because Julia Hart was hurt, so she couldn't defend the TBS title. They had her in a tag team match. Or she was coming back from injury. I'm assuming that they were well, we don't want to have her in a singles match on the pay-per-view, so we'll put her in the pre-show, which I don't really agree with. You could have had that match on the pay-per-view. You also could have done this. I know they're playing the long game with this Ruby Soho Saraya thing, but it's and I'm actually pretty invested in this story. Both of them are doing a really good job with it. And I'm why don't we have this on the pay-per-view? This match is I want more women's matches that have nothing to do with championships, so it doesn't feel court-ordered to have them on the show. It's oh, they have a rivalry. They have a personal issue. Wrestlers, they can have just this match that's not for anything other than comeuppance for the villain, and I want to see more of that. And we've built this story, and I'm afraid it's just going to be on Rampage because that's where the whole story has been, is on Rampage. And I'm we can do this on pay-per-view. We don't need to. So they could have had that match on there, and we could have probably cut something. I'm sure there was that. I mean, the All-Star Scramble was great, but it was fun to get Wardlow a title shot, but I didn't really need that match. Once the Meat Madness thing wasn't going to happen, it was kind of we could just do a women's match here.
You were where's the beef?
They actually had 4 meat guys in there, so they could have just still done a 4-way meat match. I know he wanted it to be 8 meat, but 4 meat is still good.
Half the meat?
Half the meat, double the fun.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. But it was it was a really great show. One of the best shows of the year, probably. Got rave reviews from everybody, and it had Sting's final wrestling match. This time for real. This time.
Yeah, Sting is no longer.
What'd you call him?
Sting.
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 Are you saying stink?
Sting.
You're saying sting?
Sting.
Sting. It's not with the K. It's a sting.
Sting.
Okay. No, I heard it. I heard a little bit.
It's Sting.
Oh, Tony, Shivani. Anyway, it was a great show. Will Ospreay had his big old debut. He's having a big old match with Konosuke Takeshita, and it was fantastic. Big Dave gave it almost 6 stars.
6? I didn't know you could do 6 stars.
Oh no, he's broken the thing. Kenny Omega broke. But I mean, I think he claimed that there was a 6-star match or an over 5-star match that was Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat years ago. He retroactively said it was over 5 stars, but it used to always be 5 stars. And then Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada at Wrestle Kingdom in 2017. He gave it 6 stars. And then they had another match. He's done this. He's got over 5 stars many times at this point. But then this is the highest match he's ever given. This is the highest rating he's ever given a match. It was Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight title. 2 out of 3 falls. at Dominion in 2018, I believe, and he gave it 7 stars. It was an hour and a half match.
Wow.
It was great. Give it 7 stars. Anyway, but he did it again for Takeshita and Ospreay. It was a great coming out for a party for Ospreay. Everybody's very excited to have him. He's killing it. He's the most British man in wrestling. He says, "Yes, bruv. You know, bruv. All right, bruv."
He does say bruv a lot.
He does. And then he had so Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson killed it in their match for the Continental Crown Championship. Just great storytelling and selling, and Eddie's really one of the best in the business, at all that stuff. And Bryan Danielson, great character. And then they had a phenomenal promo afterwards about that whole thing, summing up their whole story. And it's always gets me whenever people are like, "Oh, AEW doesn't have stories." It's like, A, I know you're not watching the show. And B, yes, they do. They just sometimes they communicate the stories a little bit differently. I think WWE is conditioned a lot of American wrestling fans to be like, well, the story has to be played out in these specific ways. It has to be like this promo segment in front of the audience, or these backstage segments. And it's like, we can do this in different ways. We can do it in the New Japan way that also has a lot of stories, which is a lot of the story plays out in the match itself and in the matches. And it's like the matches are part of it. They're not subtracting from story time, which I think I've talked about before. But it's really frustrating when people think that. But I thought it was great. And then, that leads into AEW's season premiere. We've had
they have a whole new look.
They have a whole new look for
cute.
Dynamite. It is cute. We've got some color schemes now. It's not just Dynamite. It's Dynamite was always kind of a black and white show, a little bit of color, but now it's back got color splashes.
I feel like it's very 80s, and I couldn't help but draw the association between their next announced pay-per-view Dynasty, which was a big show in the 80s that's very 80s, and their new 80s inspired look.
Yeah.
Feels like they're really 80s-ing it up.
Yeah. I'm very excited for AEW Back to the Future.
That'd be fun.
That was the first 80s movie I could think of.
Is that an 80s movie? That came out in the 80s?
Yeah, 1985, the year we were born.
Oh, wow.
1985. I always stuck with me. And a lot of it takes place in 1955. And then
for some reason, I think of it as early 90s, but maybe that's just because that's when I saw it, because I would have been old enough to have seen it. So
it's hard to understand Back to the Future as a baby. It's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably did, but
Yeah.
just because I'm super smart at movies.
Anyway, they brought the tunnels back for Dynamite.
They brought the tunnels back.
The tunnels
Kathy
are back.
Would be so excited. She loves tunnels. Our cat.
Our cat loves tunnels.
She loves to play in her tunnels. She would be very excited about that. But yeah, they had now Will Ospreay is there. He's a character in the show. Had another basically 5-star match with Kyle Fletcher, who changed his whole look. I feel bad for his tag team partner Mark Davis, because when he comes back, Fletcher's gonna have this whole singles career.
I have a question. The thing of heels coming out of the stage left and the faces coming out of stage, well, wait,
I don't know offhand which one it is. I think you're right.
Did AEW start that, or is that a WWE thing? Do you know the history of this?
Well, they started. I don't know if they were the first company to do that, especially because early AEW had a lot of homages to other ones. So I mean, it could have been something that WCW did, and I'm forgetting. But they definitely, when they first started AEW, at least Dynamite, it may have been when they first started their pay-per-views, they did have a babyface entrance tunnel and a heel entrance tunnel, and they would have the heels do that, and that was in 2019. And then I can't remember when they stopped doing it, but they did stop doing it. And then everybody just came out of the entrance, unless you're John Moxley or the Blackpool Combat Club, then you might come out of through the crowd. But otherwise, they were kind of but WWE's never done that, because WWE doesn't acknowledge that stuff.
I wasn't sure if that was a wrestling tradition or a specific AEW.
And if it was a wrestling tradition, I don't think WWE would care.
Yeah.
They
don't do wrestling; they do sports entertainment.
Yeah, they don't even do that. They just do their thing. They do very specifically their thing. But yeah, it was a big business. We're building to big business. I was wondering why they didn't have the Dynamite, didn't say AEW Dynamite big business, because they didn't want to reveal that logo right away. The new Dynamite logo. But we built a lot for big business. Wardlow's getting his world title shot already against Samoa Joe. Also, a thing about Dynamite, it's funny, I was talking about WWE and all this stuff. Dynamite opened like Raw. It was 100% like a Raw opening. They came, Swerve came out for an interview and did a promo, and then Samoa Joe, sort of not inexplicably, but without prompting, came out and did his little back and forth with Swerve to keep building the tension there. And then some associated heels came out to give them shit. And then Tony Khan, through Tony Schiavone, announced very Teddy Long style that we're going to have a tag team match right here, right now. And then they did a tag team match to see if they could coexist. And there was, and it was just
Could they?
They did, and they won, but then Joe beat him up afterwards.
Oh.
Because Wardlow and the Undisputed Kingdom came out. Really sucks with this whole Undisputed Kingdom thing that, like, Roderick Strong is killing it. Bennett and Taven are really trying. Wardlow is good. But, like, Adam Cole not being able to wrestle is really screwing this whole thing up pretty bad. Like, they don't feel that important. And I loved the reveal of them as the devil and all this stuff. It's just like the two people that are the most involved, Adam Cole and MJF, are like hurt and not around.
Yeah, how much
can't do
more
anything.
time does Adam Cole out? Because he's been injured for over 6 months, I feel like.
Yeah, it was like September at Grand Slam that he got hurt. And it's like, I mean, I'm sure a broken ankle is rough, but it's like, it doesn't feel like it would take quite this long.
It's an amazing amount of time he's been out for somebody who's still actively like part of stories.
Yeah, it feels like, I don't know. I don't want to come down on a broken ankle. I'm sure it sucks.
Get over it, Adam Cole. Like,
suck
God.
it up.
Jeez.
My God.
Oh, my bones are broken.
My bones don't work.
My bones have to heal. It
I
takes
can't
time
walk.
for the human body to like heal.
I literally can't put weight on it.
I literally like need time to like have my body reform protein cells to like build my bones back.
Get over yourself.
Yeah, really.
Right?
Like, what a baby. God. If I broke my ankle, I wouldn't miss a beat.
I wouldn't even care.
I wouldn't even stop.
I'd be scraping my bloody stumping bone across the ground so I could wrestle.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I would be.
Because I'm dedicated.
I'm dedicated.
And I'm tough.
Adam! Anyway. Oh, and Kyle O'Reilly came back.
Oh.
That was a big thing. It was very exciting. And he's just been like so sincere about being back and being excited and how he thought he wasn't going to wrestle again. And I was worried because I thought he would be part of Undisputed Kingdom, and they did give him a shirt, and he was like excited to see Roderick Strong, his friend from the Undisputed Era in WWE, but he didn't want to join them. He wants to just stand on his own. He's not like feuding with them yet, but he probably will at some point. So everybody's excited about that. So we're all excited to see Kyle O'Reilly back. He's a very relatable young man. And he was building a lot of like momentum before he got hurt. He's been gone for almost 2 years. He got hurt like right before the first Forbidden Door.
Yeah. Wow, that means we've been doing the podcast for over 2 years.
Oh, it's been longer.
Because I remember talking about Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly.
Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly.
How they have the most rhythmic names.
They do. That was before he even left WWE, or right around the time that he was going to leave. So that was even before that. Anyway, but it was big, and then we're already doing Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay, which is exciting. Is it's like if Danielson's going to leave soon, just do it. Just do it now. They're going to do it at AEW Dynasty. Just get it in there. And the big news: Kazuchika Okada debuts shockingly for AEW. We knew he was probably going to go there, but when he came out, it was like during a Young Bucks thing where they suspended Hangman Adam Page from the Elite for attacking referees, which that was also a great match. Great story beats there. And then they fired Kenny Omega from the Elite for missing time because he has diverticulitis. And then Eddie Kingston came out to like give them shit. And then Okada shows up, and he seems like he's going to help Eddie. And then he turns on Eddie Kingston and beats him up and joins his legit shoot friends, the Young Bucks, as the new member of the Elite. Which is, like, honestly, such inspired booking to have him do this. Because especially when you're bringing in Will Ospreay, who's, like, Mr. 6-star match guy, Okada is kind of like thought of that as being that character as well. And so it's like, if you're going to bring in Will Ospreay as this guy, don't do the same thing with Okada, where it's like Okada now it's like, oh great, now he just has to like kill it every time, and now he's like a dick with and he's like with the guys that like run the company. Yeah. So he's always been like, his character's always been a prick. Like he's arrogant and cocky, and he's like Sugu. And this is also I think part of why he wanted to leave New Japan, was so he could do more like story and character stuff like this. So it's like a great way to bring in Okada, where it like takes some of the pressure off and he does something different, and he can build to these big matches.
He's one Bill Okada. That's what Tony Khan calls.
Yeah. You are one Bill Okada, let me tell you, brother. But those are my thoughts on AEW. So now we'll move on to WWE,
Yeah.
the storytelling company.
Yeah. What happened in WWE?
Well, The Rock was there, and let me tell you. So they had The Rock, the whole bloodline thing, and Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, because The Rock and Roman Reigns challenged the old Rhodeslands. Rhodeslands. That's what I'm gonna call them. Rhodeslands.
The
Seth and Cody.
The
Roros.
The
The Ro.
Roseland?
Rhodeslands.
Rhodes.
Rhodeslands.
Rollins.
I'm trying to combine
Like
Rollins
a road.
and Rhodes.
Like a road. Like a road.
Sting.
Oh wait, you mean like the Cody Rhodes?
Yeah, I'm trying to combine Rhodes and Rollins.
I
into
thought you
one
meant
name.
Rhodes like a.
No, Cody
Okay.
Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes. Rhodeslands. Oh, Rollins and Rhodes. Okay, I get
Rhodeslands.
what you're trying to do.
Yeah, or
okay.
Rawls.
Cody and
Anyway,
Seth.
Cody and Seth. So they came out, and let me tell you, this segment, 95% entrances. This was so, and
Sounds like a WWE show.
It was, and it is very WWE. I'm really not trying to be like negative WWE guy, but it is funny to be like how much filler there is in WWE. It really, they do love to talk about. Oh, we love to just kind of like. We don't like to give you all the story at once. We like to give you a little drop at a time, and it's like you just do. That doesn't mean we should just get empty calories around it. You know what I mean? You don't have to do like nothing and then do a little bit.
This is the second time today you've used the phrase empty calories around me, and it's really triggering as someone who loves empty calories.
I love empty calories too. Who doesn't love empty calories?
I drink
they're my favorite ones.
So many calorie-filled beverages.
They're my favorite. Well, it's not necessarily empty. I don't even know if I'm using it right, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm assuming empty calories means like you're eating stuff that's like not really benefiting you nutritionally.
Well, yeah, empty calories is like a can of Coke.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like you're getting a whole bunch of calories, but you're not really getting any good energy
so like
for your
you
body.
gain weight, but you're not really going to be that's what I thought.
Okay.
Okay, great. I don't know anything
I
about
was just
nutrition.
complaining as a person who really loves empty calories and hates to be reminded that they exist. Okay, continue.
Again, they're my favorite kind of calories. But yeah, this is 95% entrances to the point that like you can see somebody took a video of it. There's a producer there by the cameraman frantically telling The Rock to wrap it up.
Really?
Like, I mean, like endlessly, like doing this for like minutes.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's also funny because like now this is actually I think a genuine story thing that they might come into play. The Rock has acknowledged Roman Reigns as the tribal chief, right? So it means the Roman Reigns is still the leader of the bloodline and everything. But The Rock still gets his own entrance every time. Like the bloodline comes out all together. Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, they all come out, and then The Rock gets his own full like just as long entrance. And it's just very funny, and I was like, that's probably going to be because The Rock is really, I think he's using Roman Reigns right now, and then eventually he's going to be like, no.
I gotta say, I'm really glad I didn't watch that because I've been that producer many, many, many times.
I used to tech at a comedy theater.
A big part of my job is being the person who stands by a camera going and having people in my ear like yelling at me. Oh. How could you, The Rock? Although maybe The Rock is sitting there like, I own this freaking company.
I mean, well, he's like,
and they spent 7 minutes bringing Roman Reigns to the ring, so I'm gonna talk. Like,
yeah, it was. I mean, I think it was really the entrances that's good because then Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins came in. To Seth Rollins' credit, he shared the entrance with Cody. Okay, he didn't even get his own entrance. That was nice, but they came out through the crowd.
Which is upsetting though because they both have songs that are like participatory.
Oh yeah, well the crowd spent another 2 minutes singing Seth Rollins' song after they got to the ring,
right?
Which also added to it. But no, I do. Yeah, you're right. But they came in through the crowd, Shield style, and also Cody's the people's champ. A lot of nice little touches here.
My friend Jesse David Fox, my friend from work, is currently learning about the Shield on YouTube.
The Shield. One of the better stories in WWE. I'm saying that negatively again. I do enjoy WWE. I've enjoyed a lot of their stories. But they also suck shit a lot of times, okay?
Well,
they have a lot of bad habits.
You got frustrated with me because I said something to Jesse when he told me he was learning about that. I was like, oh, I think they're so funny. Because I do think they're so funny.
You think of the Shield as like a comedy trio.
I
You
do.
think they're like the like a troupe of comedians.
And you were like mad.
They were the most, I mean, Dean Ambrose was like very naturally funny. But they were so not comedic at all. They were like very serious guys that will kill you as their characters.
See, I know. And the problem
Dean Ambrose
for
got
me,
goofy.
The problem for me is that like WWE for me exists under the umbrella of comedy.
That is interesting. It's
Like-
also funny because their genuine attempts at comedy are like 90% of the time the worst thing you've ever seen.
Well, and I recognize that there's drama in it, but to me, wrestling itself is basically a dramedy because it's like, it's a parody of sports to me. Like, that's how I watch it.
Interesting.
Like, we're all doing play. Like, it's again, my friend Jesse wrote a book called Comedy Book. It's all about play theory. And it like, to me, that kind of like describes how I watch wrestling is like, we're playing. Like, this is play.
I will agree that it is a heightened version of sports. So sometimes it's silly, but it is like you just take stuff that could happen in sports and then you just like blow it out to like a crazy degree, and that gets the crowd to be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is really funny. And I do think it is good to approach it with a certain level always of, this is a little stupid.
Yeah.
When you're doing it, which
'Cause
is
we're
actually
playing.
something John Moxley was said in an interview. He was like, "This is fucking stupid. Like, we're not really fighting. We're in little, like,
Like, it's
we're in
not
stupid
that-
clothes. It's like,
Yeah.
don't take." He's just trying to say, don't take, because a lot of wrestlers will take themselves super seriously, and he's like, and it'll, they become dicks, and he's like, just don't do that. You don't have to be so super.
Yeah,
serious.
and I think that's how I look at it. It's not that I think they're all deliberately doing jokes. It's that I feel like there's an element of just playfulness to everything everybody's doing. Because even like the really scary people like Bray Wyatt, it's like there's an element of theater to it that is inherently kind of funny in a way.
Yeah, well, at Bray Wyatt, I think part of it was just that. I think a lot of it is just that WWE, when they try to do things seriously, sometimes it just comes off stupid because they have in the past not had a great. Sometimes they have issues with presentation, and I don't think they had great minds to like showcase Bray Wyatt in a way that it deserved.
Well, and I do think that somebody like Bray Wyatt was so great because he did overcome that a lot, and I think he did like present.
Yeah, it's a testament to him.
He was able to do drama within this dramedy, which I think is, when you have people who can do that, makes it even better, because then the people who are doing the comedy stuff are funnier because they have something to they have a straight man to bounce off of. Anyway, sorry, I pulled you into a tangent there.
No, it's okay. It's look, I've never. Let me see here. I was gonna say, what's a pair? I didn't cry during Spaceballs. You know what I'm saying? But I've cried during wrestling.
Right, but I'm sure they're like.
Yeah, that's not true.
Have you
I
never-
probably have cried during Spaceballs. I
Has
can't
there
say
ever
that.
been a comedy that made you cry? I feel like I
Probably.
cried during The Office, probably.
I probably cried. I'm sure I've cried during.
I think I cried when
Michael.
I think I cried when like Michael Scott left The Office.
I've cried during The Simpsons and Futurama many times.
Yeah. Sorry.
But I wouldn't say that they're necessarily parodies. I'm getting into semantics.
No.
here.
But
I know
Futurama
what
is
you're
a
saying.
comedy that
I know
has
what
made
you're
you
saying.
cry.
Yes.
Like, I'm saying that like comedy and drama can exist in all things.
They can.
And one can still be a comedy and one can still be a drama. You know what I mean?
What do you think is a wrestling match I've cried during? Or just like name like one of the wrestlers. It's crazy to ask you to pull.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Just name like a wrestler who has had a match that you think I've cried during, or like after.
CM Punk.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so. I definitely cried.
Oh, Mick
during-
Foley.
I think so. Mick Foley, I was watching when I was like so invested in it as like, oh, you get him. So I don't know if I was. I definitely have cried about Mick Foley before.
Oh, Jay Briscoe, I'm sure. During the Briscoe stuff.
Oh, I cried about him for sure. Yeah, I don't know if I cried during one of his matches though.
Oh.
But I did tear up a little bit probably when he won the ROH World Title. I was not expecting it.
I feel like you told me that.
Yeah. And then with CM Punk, I definitely teared up when he came back to AEW. I was very touched.
What's the right answer?
All of those are true. I definitely cried during Bayley versus Sasha Banks at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn.
A woman's match. How
2015.
woke of you.
And it was it was also this, like Bayley's story was so like, she was like this little, basically like a child, you know what I mean? And was like unsure of herself and all this stuff, and all like the other horsewomen and all these like Charlotte and all these people and Sasha that she was trying to like catch up to and prove that she could be,
Bayley really can get in your
Oh my God,
feels.
yeah. No,
she has that kind of a
cried.
face. She has a very emotive face and a very sympathetic face.
And
she's
she was
got
like a
big
kid.
eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got these like big expressive eyes. So when she's like upset, it looks really sad because she's like a puppy. It's like a sad puppy.
Yeah, you literally basically felt like you were watching a child grow up.
Yeah.
With that, with her character, and actually, that's a great segue into my
Next WWE
thing. The Rock thing was good. They did a good job. The Rock's getting better at being a heel again. Cody is doing great, and they have a new stipulation. Look it up. Anyway, but the next thing is actually Bayley had an interview where she was talking about how like hurt she was.
Oh wait, hang on. Tell me what the new stipulation is.
Oh, the new stipulation is that well, it was the thing that The Rock already proposed. So it was just that. But
the
now
tag
they've agreed
match?
to it. Yeah, so it's the tag match. Rock and Roman Reigns.
When night one of WrestleMania.
The Rock and Rome Express versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. If Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins win, Bloodline is banned from Cody's match with Roman Reigns, his title shot the next night at WrestleMania Night 2. But if the Bloodline wins, then they get to decide the rules. So and The Rock's like, I will do everything in my power to make sure that you don't win the title.
Wow.
And he just keeps talking about being his boss. I love how many times he says walking clown show or walking clown emoji to Seth Rollins, because it's just funny because he thought like one thing and he just keeps saying it.
Yeah.
And it's not so bad if he says it like once a week. But last week he said it like 3 times. Like he kept trying to say something else, but he just kept saying the same thing. He was just
didn't the crowd chant diarrhea at The Rock this week? Was that this week?
I think they did. Well, because
Seth called him like something.
Yeah, well,
diarrhea.
because they've been trying to make fun of like his promo style, which is like it has aged quite a bit. Like it's still there. He just needs to like get back in the groove of it and update it a little bit. But I think they did chant diarrhea at him, which was funny. I mean, you could really light The Rock up, I think, if you had the full go ahead.
Yeah.
Those guys could.
It's a lot you could
Cody
say.
especially, I'm sure could. Anyway, Naomi. So this was the Bayley thing. She had an interview about she was like, I created damage control, and I'm gonna have to deal with it now because they all turned on her and all this stuff. And then it cuts to Naomi because it was like a sit down interview, not with Renee, unfortunately, 'cause she's not there. But then Naomi was there watching on a monitor, and she looked sad. And then Bianca came up to her and she's like, "Why are you sad for Bayley? Like Bayley did, Bayley dug her own grave. She created damage control, and now she's getting what's coming to her." And then Naomi was like, "I know, but I just, I feel bad. Like, I just don't like this. I feel it makes me feel bad." And Bianca was full like reality show, basically, like Real Housewives style. Like, you know what? That's just me. Like, I'm saying you weren't here. You didn't have to deal with all the damage control stuff, but like she was a nightmare, okay? And she's like, I said what I said. She said at one point, and it was and Naomi was like, I know, I don't like it. I don't like it. I feel bad. It makes me feel bad. And it was just this like cool little reality show segment.
Naomi doesn't like people getting pushed around.
She doesn't, and she was like, and it's an interesting thing. Are we going to do a Naomi versus Bianca?
Or is Naomi going to come in and interrupt Damage Control's attempt to bury Bayley with some sort of cheating?
I would love to see Naomi come out and help Bayley and like side with her, because also they have a mutual friend. Bayley was at all those little like indie shows, all those little
Bayley
indie
and
shows in
Naomi,
New
I think,
Japan.
are friends in real life. Bayley and Trinity.
Yeah, they've been around together for a long time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think I'm using her WWE Christian name of Naomi. It's funny to say that Trinity is not a Christian name, considering
it's the most Christian.
The Holy
name.
Trinity.
Yeah.
Boy, the Holy Spirit. What a weird guy. And then also, they've got
Hang
some.
on.
What?
Let me try this. Okay.
Great. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about WWE is they've got the Hall of Fame announcements.
Oh yeah, they're putting Bull Nakano in the Hall of Fame.
I was very excited about that.
Yeah,
Bull
I saw
Nakano,
that. That was pretty fun.
Professional golfer, Bull Nakano. She should come back and just work a golf gimmick.
That would be funny.
That would be awesome. But yeah, we saw her live at Sukebon. So I'm very excited about that. Well deserved. According to legend, she had a match so good with Alundra Blaze on a house show that they like fired her over it. I don't know if that's true that they fired her because of it, but she was definitely, her and Alundra Blaze were having like cool matches when you were like, they didn't want women having cool matches on WWF programming, but very well deserved. Now they can pretend like they respected women's wrestling, and she deserves to be in every Hall of Fame anyway. So Bull Nakano, we got the Paul of Fame because Paul Heyman is going in. And at first I was like almost random to have Paul Heyman, and I was like, it's in Philadelphia. Not that he doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but it's just like it's Philly. This is where he's a
ECW.
god. So
They got to give him a chance to chant ECW.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to work his Hall of Fame speech. He's going to try to like put over Roman Reigns or something.
Wouldn't it be funny if he didn't at all? Wouldn't it be funny if he just dropped kayfabe and just started bawling and had a really like earnest like?
I don't know if we've ever heard Paul Heyman have an earnest. I mean, it's like there's definitely he's got that like Eddie Kingston where it's like probably 90% earnest, but he's always working you a little bit. They should have everybody he ever owed money to in ECW come and collect.
That'd be
it's
funny.
like, Paul, I know you have the money now.
Yeah.
And then they've also a big thing. So I thought for sure they would announce Bray Wyatt because he passed away and didn't do a murder suicide when he did so.
Yeah.
So I figured that he would be in there. But they have announced they have announced the U.S. Express, I believe, which is his father, Mike Rotunda, and Barry Windham, his uncle.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're going to go in the Hall of Fame.
That'll be great.
And it'd be nice if I think they probably will put them all together. So now I'm going to cry. I cried for Bray Wyatt, too.
Yeah. We all cried for Bray Wyatt.
I feel it feels different. But yeah, it's like...
I cried when I saw Zelina Vega crying during the memorial for him.
No, yeah, that was...
She's going to cry, and then I'm going to cry, and then we're all going to cry.
So that was... it was a big week for WWE. Big 2 weeks, I guess. I feel like there was a lot more that happened there that I didn't...
It's okay. We don't have to cover every single thing.
No, I have to know. Everybody has to know from me. You have to hear it from me. Anyway, here's a new segment that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
The New Japan Minute.
Oh, boy.
I got 1 minute because nobody really ever cares when I talk about New Japan. But I'm going to say all the stuff I want to say about it.
I don't like it when you refer to me as nobody. Anyway.
Anybody. Everybody. Anne doesn't really care when I talk about New Japan, so I'm going to do it in 1 minute. I'm not going to, but I'm not going to say less stuff. I'm just going to try to cram it all in. And here we go. Okay, so New Japan, they're doing the New Japan Cup that just started. So that's like a single elimination tournament instead of the round robin tournaments they do, like the G1. And so a lot of shock wins. Jack Perry eliminates Shota Umino. Shota Umino is like kind of the big, like he could be the new Hiroshi Tanahashi, but Jack Perry is evil now, and he's in Jungle Boy, right? He's in New Japan, and he joined the House of Torture, which is the shittiest little. They're like the Judgment Day. They're little jerks, and they cheat a lot, and so. He's in there, and he won. Anyway, there's all this stuff has happened. Yota Tsuji, right? So AEW, they used to think ROH was their developmental territory. Not so. New Japan is their development. They signed Jay White, Will Ospreay, Kazuchika Okada. They got all these people. They took them all from. They took Kevin Kelly from New Japan, and now they have him. But they have the next generation. They're booking the next generation. They're doing a good job with it. Yota Tsuji's ready to go. You got to use Yota Tsuji soon. But that's everybody else is building nicely, and it has been great. And was there anything else I wanted to say? That's pretty much
Time's up. All right, all done.
Now we should do the awards.
Well, don't we have a shooting range?
We have the shooting range. Pew pew. We actually have a lot of stuff in the shooting range.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get to all this.
For your New Japan Minute. Okay.
Great. The CM Punk static thing?
No, it's applause.
Oh.
You just can't hear it very well.
Okay, yeah. I'm hearing it through the Zoom. Okay, so the shooting range, lots of stuff going on here. Did you see that Vince McMahon sold?
I did see this.
I put all this stuff here. I don't know if I'm going to read all this. Vince McMahon sold 5,350,000 shares of TKO stock at $77. So he made $411,950,000.
But hang on, because after taxes, that's only going to be like $200 million.
Honestly,
and it's like, what can you do with $200 million?
Nothing. And it's like really sucks that he has to give that up to like what? To like pay for roads and stuff?
First of all, here's the thing. He has to pay taxes. And then after taxes, it's $200 million. And then you've got like your basic essentials, right? Like your mortgage, your light bill,
your 7,000 PS5s. If I had $450 million, I'd have a PS5 in every room. Okay.
It's just like, people think that's a lot of money, but like really when you get down to it, it's like not that much money.
And like we don't need the roads that bad. We wouldn't have private jets if we didn't have to pay taxes. It's stupid. It's really stupid. Anyway, but So this seems like he's jumping ship completely. Probably has some stuff to pay for coming up. Probably has
What
some
could
fees.
his expenses be right now?
Yeah, I'm not sure. He might have some fees, some people that work for him, but he still retains 15 million shares of TKO stock. So he sold a third of what he had. He still has so much more, or he sold a quarter of what he had. So he still has so much more. So he's still that stuff is still worth over $1 billion.
Wow, I hope he's like able to,
Use it in jail.
No, I worry about, is he
It's
gonna
true.
be comfortable? Is he gonna be okay? Can he Can he afford to retire?
I mean, I
These
don't
are
know on
these are
that.
the things that we have to worry about with these job creators who are being unfairly persecuted by the American government.
He was just trying to disrupt.
Yeah. God,
That's stupid.
not enough bad things could happen to that man.
Yeah. Hopefully, at least one of them does. Anyway, wow, I'm really going for it on Vinny here.
Yeah, wow. Don't get canceled for saying something bad about Vince McMahon, John. Be careful.
I know. But anyway,
You don't want to alienate the Vince McMahon fans.
I just think the Vince McFans. I think
The Vince
I
McMarks.
I just was like, oh, is he getting out? But he's still got so much stock. Anyway, other stuff happened this week in the shooting range. Do you have any thoughts on this Vince thing?
I already shared them.
Great. So Kevin Kelly, who was like my favorite commentator, is fired from AEW. So there's a lot of scuttlebutt around this. A lot of it's hearsay and rumors that I can't really, I don't want to get us, litigated against here. But the scuttlebutt is that
It'd be so funny if someone sued us.
yeah.
Of all the people who have wrestling podcasts
Yeah.
who are probably talking about this, they think John and Ann's wrestling podcast is the problem that needs to be snuffed out. Anyway,
We're
continue.
the problem that needs to be solved, and that's that sounds cool, but is also like detrimental to us. But he actually he did tweet or Facebook posted or something. He's on his social media. He shared a thing for Sound of Freedom tickets, which was bad, and then it kind of started coming out that he was like a QAnon guy.
You know what freedom sounds like?
Yeah, it sounded like that.
Sounds like being able to fart whenever you want. Like, what else is true freedom?
God,
Anyway, go ahead.
I know, right? God, I wish. And so then Ian Riccaboni, who apparently had like recommended him because the story is that that Tony Khan wanted Ian Riccaboni, ROH commentator, to be the play-by-play commentator for Collision when it started, AEW Collision. And then Riccaboni has like another job. I think like he kind of just does the commentary thing for fun on the side, and he was like, I don't want to travel around. Which is fair. He's got a family. He was like, I don't feel like doing it. You should get Kevin Kelly from New Japan. So they did. And so then apparently this QAnon stuff started coming up. And then on a Discord, which somebody screenshotted, Ian Riccaboni was like, look, he was basically talking about how Kevin was kind of becoming like rough to deal with. And he was like, look, if he wants to like have lower taxes or whatever, that's fine. If he's like, I want less government intervention or something, that's fine. But this like QAnon stuff is like too much, which is fair. And so
Well, if
that
you're
got
into
leaked.
QAnon, you are not smart.
Unfortunately, so.
Like, that's just a given. That's not something anyone needs to like prove. It's like if you've fallen for the QAnon gimmick, which is what it is.
Yeah, no, I definitely it's a work.
You're not an intelligent, well-read person who's able to understand like context.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
So it sucks when it's somebody that you like, because Kevin was great, but then he just became apparently like he started tweeting about how Ian Riccaboni was libeling him and saying all this stuff about him, and he said that he was like pushed aside because they've had Tony Schiavone come in to like be part of a 3-man booth, and I guess there were rumors that he was saying he was gonna like he wanted Riccaboni gone or something because he was gonna sue. I don't know. The point is, it sounds like it became difficult to have Kevin Kelly around, and he's now been fired by AEW. So I'm not sure where he goes. I don't think he's gonna go back to New Japan because they've already replaced him with a young commentator. Walker Stewart has been doing very well adjusting to the product.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have like he's 21, so he can probably travel to Japan as much as you need him to try. You know what I mean? He's like, he doesn't have like a family here. I don't think. And so Kevin Kelly said that part of the reason he came to AEW from New Japan was because his wife was, getting sad that he was traveling all the time and she was like alone a lot. So I don't think that he would go back. Hopefully his wife is also QAnon, or else she'll probably be pretty pissed about him getting fired over this thing. So we'll see. But that really sucks. It stinks, and I don't like it. But it is what it is, and poor Kevin. All he wanted to do was help people get some free movie tickets. That's all.
That's all.
Kevin, what do you just rethink your stance on this, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, it's one, whatever. See whatever movies you want to see. I don't care, but there's no coming back from being a big QAnoner.
A big QAnon guy who's going to put it before your job and your family.
Yeah, it's like it's at some point you're just. I'm sorry, we have to draw the line somewhere. I know as a society we've gotten really into like the participation trophy, protect everybody's feelings kind of bullshit. But if you like QAnon, you're stupid.
Yeah,
that's just like, unfortunately, there's just facts. Don't care about your feelings. You just are an idiot.
Yeah.
Grow up. That's my message to you. Grow up. Anyway,
yeah, it's funny to get into it as like a hobby, you know what I mean? It's like because that's kind of how people I think are like thinking about it, and then but then it like is like, but this is really stupid though, and it's also really important the stuff that you're getting upset about here.
Well, it's like QAnon is like being a flat earther in the sense that you have to deny so much base reality to believe it, but the difference is like flat earthers are like kind of trolly and annoying, but like at the end of the day it's like who cares? It's their really money, it's their time. QAnon is like a malignant force that like
really hurts,
that like recruits mentally ill people into believing all kinds of paranoid crazy stuff that inspires them to go out and potentially commit violence against people. So it's like it's not a neutral thing.
No, it's not. And
it's
again,
a bad thing.
It's something to point out, as you already have, is that it's really stupid. Everything about it is super dumb. Stupid. It's very, very stupid
It's
stuff.
very stupid.
Very stupid. Anyway,
so... All right, let's talk about the next thing. What's the next thing?
Speaking of Japanese wrestling, so this is not a wrestler I'm familiar with too much, but I have heard of him. There's wrestler Yutaka Yoshie. He passed away. He was only 50 years old.
Oh.
He seemed like a fun guy. He was like kind of a stocky guy. He wore a big pink singlet. He held the tag team titles in New Japan with young Hiroshi Tanahashi. He was only 50. He had a match at All Japan, went backstage, felt ill. Apparently his situation deteriorated very quickly, and then he passed away. So that's sad. So rest in peace. But in happier news, Dirty Dom got married, and so did the former Madcap Moss and Emma got married to each other. Dirty Dom got married to somebody else. It's not a throuple.
No, yeah.
Dominic Mysterio
Dirty Dom got married to a nice
his own wedding, apparently.
He did. He got booed doing his own speech.
Yeah, which
that was funny.
Pretty funny. Yeah, I didn't see Finn Balor there.
Oh.
Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley were both there. I hope that he didn't know, and he's just like looking at Instagram. He's like, "What the hell? What the hell is this?"
Yeah. Should we do the awards?
The awards. We're doing the awards now.
It's a different song every time, I think.
Because I don't remember and I don't sing.
Yeah.
Promo of the week.
Promo of the week. You go first.
Okay, so actually, I'm going to sort of change what I have here. The best promo of the week was Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston after their match at Revolution, when Eddie Kingston was like tearfully saying like, "Look, man, all I ever wanted was the respect of like my peers." And so that's why this was so important to me. And it's like, it's really hard for me to have like, and so this is, and Bryan Danielson being like, "You earned it." And then Bryan Danielson doing like, honestly, a brilliant promo about how it's like, Eddie had all this potential. It took him a while to get there, but he did it. He got there and he just sold it so beautifully. Go watch it. It's online. But I will say, Seth Rollins has improved more, I think, on the microphone than anybody I've seen this year. That once the guy started just like talking like a human and saying his real feelings and not trying to be like silly or whatever, he's been so good. He's been like,
that's good to hear.
It's just like I think he's been just like really heavily improved.
That's good to hear.
That's what I wanted to say. How about you?
My promo of the week. I probably have to go with Katie Willett's response to the State of the Union.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because
Speaking of QAnon.
it had such a major effect on this country, and it was very it was a big swing. Like, here's the thing. I appreciate when people take really big swings, because even if you fail, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
so
they're generating content.
It was hilarious, and in second place I wanted to say Miriam Margolyes. Miriam Margolyes, I think, maybe how you say it. She was in Harry Potter, and she gave an interview this week where she said, "I worry about the Harry Potter fans because they should be over it by now."
Oh, God.
and it was very funny.
It's very funny to like throw your like
she
to just
she said
needlessly.
she said Harry Potter is over, and I cackled.
Oh wait, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I think what you were saying.
No,
I thought you were talking about they should be over J.K. Rowling, like.
No. She's like,
I see.
She was talking about people reach out to her sometimes to do cameos and
gotcha.
stuff.
This is much
and
funnier.
she's like, people will be like, we have a Harry Potter wedding. And I'm like, well, what? Like, it's for children. Like, and she's like, what kind of fun are they having on their wedding night? Like, like,
wow.
She really went hard for the Harry Potter adults.
Wow, this is really
funny.
This is like Alec Guinness with Star Wars.
It was a lovely, lovely little heel turn from a very delightful woman.
Who did she play?
I forget who she plays because Harry Potter's over, and don't.
I mean, look, I watched them as an adult. I enjoyed the movies.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to act like I don't do this with other stuff. I just don't.
Professor Sprout. I think that's the plant lady with the screaming mandrake roots.
Sense. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, and I just love the. It's over. It was lovely, but it's over. Like.
Her character reminds me
Move on.
Of who is the teacher that they get married in Clueless. Her like.
Oh yeah, I forget her name too.
Reminds
me
of that lady.
Miss Geist.
I don't know if their characters were at all similar, but it just is. That's kind of what I remember. I saw those movies once each.
All right, match of the week.
I gotta give it to Sting. Sting's last match.
You got to give it to Sting.
It was great.
That was an exciting match.
I had a ball. I cried during it, or afterwards. Actually, especially they had Seek and Destroy going. His sons came out, which sometimes could feel cheap, but in this way, they like really earned having his sons there. I thought the first son when he came out, I thought it was him, and so it was really cool. He like just it was just like everything just like so feel good, and it was just this guy that we all love, and it was just like a celebration of so many things. He apparently really wanted to lose. But it's like the Young Bucks didn't need to win. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the Young Bucks had been like they're the bosses. They've been champions. It's better to just go out on top and have Sting win. And actually, this is the first. We have somebody here to accept the award. And if you could maybe just switch back away from the just so I can get him on camera real quick.
Oh.
Sting, can you tell us how you feel about? Hi guys, how are you? Thanks so much for the award. I really appreciate it. Bye. Okay, so that was Sting. He came to accept the award. Isn't that great?
That is
First
great.
time ever.
That is great.
Can't believe it.
All right, so my match of the week was actually from ROH. And so this was a match that happened a while ago, I guess.
Land of Honor.
But Lee Johnson beat John Cruz in a match. And it was like the third match of the night. It was after two really good women's matches.
Nice.
And this, like, they didn't have as big a crowd because they were obviously being filmed, I think, probably after a Dynamite. But they really knocked it out of the park, and it was a very exciting match. And I think what put it over the top for me as far as matches go was there was a point where John Cruz runs towards Lee Johnson and just goes, "I hate you!" and that made me laugh. So I will give that to them.
Wow. Yeah. There was a moment in my match where they parodied Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels, like the Ric Flair retirement match from WrestleMania 16 years ago, which is crazy, where before Shawn Michaels hits the finishing super kick on him, he mouths, he says, "I'm sorry, I love you," and then he kicks him, and then the Young Bucks, they double super kicked Sting, but before they did it, they said, "We're not sorry, we hate you."
Oh,
and
yeah.
They super kicked him, and then Sting like kind of no sold it, and before he clotheslined the back, he just said, "I hate you too."
Yeah,
it was great, man. We love Sting. We love the Stinger.
Yeah.
Sting.
All right, outfit of the week.
I picked Adam Copeland, the Cope, because he was disguised in the audience during Collision. He attacked Christian, and when he was disguised, he had a lucha mask on, and the lucha mask So Edge and Christian, one of their tag team title wins was they were like not supposed to get title shots. So or whatever. And so they disguised themselves as Los Conquistadores. And they were just all in gold, and they had these gold lucha masks on, and he wore a conquistador mask.
Wow.
For that, and I thought it was a nice little callback.
That is nice.
Cope.
I picked the dress Rhea Ripley wore to Dom's wedding because she looked nice.
She looked nice.
She looked nice. She cleans up nice.
She's Italian,
She
right?
shines up like a pretty penny. Yeah, she is Italian. Shock of the week.
Pac is back. I was shocked by the Okada thing, but then to top it all off, like Okada joining the New Elite, but then Pac showed up. Mm-hmm. And I knew that he was maybe coming back, but he showed up to help Eddie Kingston and Penta El Cero Miedo.
Yeah.
And so Pac versus Okada, give me that. Just give me that match right now. I'm ready for that. Always excited to have Pac around. I also love, one of my favorite things about Pac, he never wears regular clothes. He's always just in his ring gear. So I'm like, this guy just exists to wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Okay. Mine was Johnny TV and Ty Valkyrie. I only saw this on Instagram because I missed the show, but they stole Dalton Castle's boys.
No!
They stole the boys.
They stole both boys?
They stole the boys.
No.
Dalton Castle's boys have been stolen, and that was pretty shocking to me because I didn't know you could do that.
I didn't know you could steal boys.
I didn't know you could do that either. I don't think that should be legal.
Is Stokely Hathaway still in charge of ROH?
You know, I think he's pretty distracted with the Chris Statlander Willow stuff, so I think he's probably not paying as much attention. But yeah, that was my shock of the week. All right, let's finish this up with a nerd fantasy booking.
So, my nerd fantasy booking is that Jack Perry, who I am a fan of, he's trying very hard to be mean, which was the thing that he was trying to do in AEW. And he's got a big old beard now, which I think helps. And he's joined the House of Torture in New Japan, which is like the most hated faction there. They're just evil jerks, and they chant "Go home" at them all the time. And so they've been trying to make him mean. So I want New Japan to just go full force and just be like, he like killed somebody. Just be like, no, he murdered a guy. He stabbed a guy outside of the arena.
He needs the lore equivalent of MJF's promo about crashing the car and framing that girl.
Yeah, right?
He needs something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just be like, no, he killed his dad. He killed his dad. Something like
he strangled Luke Perry to death.
Yeah, no, he's crazy. He's like a bad person. So I want them to just go as hard as you can, because he just is so likable and he just seems so genuinely nice.
I know.
It's just
like
hard to make him seem mean.
I know. That's
Even
why
I do like this scapegoat character he's doing in New Japan. But
yeah, he is. He just seems like such a good guy that it's hard to imagine him being mean. I picked that I would like to see the Judgment Day fight the Undisputed Kingdom.
Oh, wow.
I think it'd be really exciting.
I think it would be. So they've got 5 and 5, right? They could do.
I think so. I don't know. But, it's whatever.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be funny and
do you want Adam Cole in the wheelchair?
I want the Judgment Day to win, to be clear, because the Undisputed Kingdom are trash for what they did to MJF. Yeah. But I think... because here's the thing. Cena and MJF connected on the Iron Claw red carpet, right? And Cena talked about wanting to bring MJF over to WWE. What if MJF went to WWE but then came back with a group of friends who want to help him get vengeance, who he's paying probably because they're heels, whatever. But he's hired a gang of, real tough baddies to come in and beat the Undisputed Kingdom. And that big, tough group of baddies is the Judgment Day.
Oh, wow.
How cool would that be?
That would be cool.
How cool would that be?
That would be cool.
Freaking cool.
It would be cool. Rhea Ripley's just beating the shit out of Adam Cole.
Yeah, I mean, I bet Rhea Ripley could lift Adam Cole over her head.
That was my whole thing with I'm always supportive of intergender matches and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I loved NXT, and it was just like, what? Yeah, why can't we just have Shayna Baszler versus Johnny Gargano? You tell me Shayna Baszler can't beat him up?
I'm completely sure Rhea could lift Adam Cole over her head and drop him down the way that they do.
100%.
I think it'd be so cool.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. All right.
That's my time.
That's all our time. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.